Ahoy, mateys! 'Tis I, Captain Horatio Honeyflakes, and I be here to tell you about me newest crowdfunding campaign. The adventures continue with me crew, the Mighty Mascots, in issues 7, 8, and 9. Just focus your looking glass on the amazing artwork of Ian Warianto and Anton Bondi. Me crew, the Mighty Mascots, are up against some scurvy scallywags, and we need ye help to defeat them. There be a bounty of exclusive treasure, only available here, where X marks the spot. I spy a huge coffer of bonuses and stretch goals on the horizon. Then please consider pledging so we can continue these adventures with the weirdest crew I ever had the pleasure of sailing with. Mascots Unleashed!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic-Con. And with me is always Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death, and The Pond.
And The Pod, just for Roger Baracco.
Hey. What's up, buddy, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Feels like I haven't talked to you forever. We texted a little bit, I think, but it's been I don't think I've had a conversation with you since the last show.
Yeah, we really haven't gotten to chat too much in detail. I think it's just because our schedules are a little bit crazy right now.
Yeah,
and I've got I got
up.
2 conventions in a row coming up, so it's heavy business for me.
Yeah, now remind me, is this the weekend you're going to San Diego?
I leave next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday,
so a week from tomorrow.
Oh, so wow, okay.
Between now and then, I basically have to get all my shit packed. I have to get all my shit for Terrificon prepped, because when I land, it's going to be another tight window where
you're going right to Terrificon.
Right. It won't be as direct like where I landed on Thursday and arrive on Thursday, but I'll have a day in between, but that window is going to be really, really short. So wow. I got to get all my materials together in advance, so that way that Wednesday isn't going to be a nightmare trying to get my Terrificon gear together. And then in terms of putting everything together to bring with me to San Diego, I still have to pick up coffee. I have a bunch of prints I'm doing this time around, so I got to get that organized. I got to do a little bit of a social media push to let people know where they can find me and what products I'll have available to them that are exclusive to San Diego. And and got to get there safely and get back safely.
Oh my god, dude. Well, you're there for extra days though too, right? This
time not really. I arrived the Tuesday before preview night at 6.
Okay.
So I don't have that Tuesday.
And then you're
that
flying right out of there right after that.
And then I have the Monday after the show is kind of like my only free day.
Okay.
And then that Tuesday I leave.
Oh, it's kind of like what we did in November,
about
a year ago or whatever. Okay. Yeah, so it's
a
like
tight window. Yeah, it's a tight window.
It's a very tight window. Wow. Yeah, dude, that's gonna be nuts. I can't wait to hear the stories though.
My anxiety's through the roof.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, we just did I gotta tell this story. We just did it was called the Whaling Festival this past weekend.
I was going to ask you about that because I remember you mentioned that you had that festival, and sometimes these things can be hit or miss. So I'm definitely curious to find out more.
Yeah. Well, let me just say the Whaling Festival, my Moby Dick was trying to make money there. So just to give you the kind of, it definitely was a misstep. We ended up leaving Saturday night. I'm like, I'm done. Between the heat and the non-money, it was just, I'm done.
Yeah.
But it was the kind of show. So it was when a carnival comes to your town and sets up.
Yeah.
And then there's food vendors. There's regular vendors, and then there's also it was wild. They had a bunch of shit. It was fun. To go to something like this, they had a wrestling rink that was kind of near us, and they were doing live wrestling matches.
Oh, that's cool. Do you know the federation that was there performing?
I wish I did. I probably
was it chaotic?
Look it up on. It's probably on their website. I bet.
Oh, I'll have to take a peek because I always think that kind of thing is fun. I know at one of the original Pop Culture Expo shows that we did, they had like live trapeze on the con floor, which I know a few people were like, baha, like they were kind of poo-pooing it, but like it was kind of fun to see that thing happening at a Comic-Con, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it just and the heat was brutal, dude, this past weekend. Like I swear to God, and I'm not even lying, my comics were sweating, dude. Like no, I swear to God, I did what you did
on the comics.
Yeah, like I did what you did, what you normally do, whereas like I signed the books and I put them in a bag and board. Especially on outdoor shows, it's kind of nice because they're right there,
safe.
I literally late Saturday, I looked at the comics and there was condensation inside the bag. I was like, holy shit.
Like, it's because you bagged the comic in a cooler environment than what in which you were presenting them.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. And that just goes to show how hot Mighty Mascots is. That's a hot title.
Right? Hot, literally,
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, I mean, it was bad. Amy almost passed out a couple times because of the heat, and like, yeah, it was interesting. We actually brought a fan in because we have like one of those like camp batteries, and we ran a fan all day, and it kind of helped. But
I was gonna say, did it do nothing for you?
Yeah, it was kind of did nothing. The one bright spot though, we got a visit from Jay and Denise Moores.
That's cool because that's in their neck of the woods, right?
It's in their neck of the woods, so they stopped by and we chatted with them. Me and Jay talked about doing. I got to get back to him about it, but we talked about doing like a Mighty Mascots Faye expansion. For his.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he said he has a way to make it kind of work, so it could be really cool to have that.
Yeah, that's neat.
And we can.
I always love crossover collaborations.
Yeah,
like that.
Absolutely. And now that I'm not. The property's fully mine now. So I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so why not? Speaking of which, I actually the books have been sent into the printers.
Oh wow! So the process has begun.
Yeah, and I think
the fulfillment is underway.
Yes, yeah. So I said July of 2023 is when I fulfill. So
yep,
I'm kind of on track, which is good. I do have I think it's about 175 backers that I got to fulfill, so it'll take me a little while to do that, but yeah, we'll try to do that.
Yeah, so I noticed even with my fulfillment process is that like if you chip away at it like in chunks and you do like a little bit at a time based upon what your scheduled availability is, that it becomes easier throughout the process as opposed to trying to do everything in one whack or procrastinating and saving everything till the end.
Yeah, like last campaign, I tried to do 10 a week, and that seemed to be pretty good to get it all done,
Yeah, the suspension in your vehicle
yeah, exactly.
was barely holding up.
Exactly. And but yeah, so that's good news. And like I sent it to I ended up going with Comics Wellspring. I don't know if I told you.
Love Comics Wellspring. They're printing my books for San Diego and Terrificon. So
nice.
If you pick up any of my work over there, it's from Comics Wellspring. Big shout out to Anthony Greco over there.
Awesome. Yeah, speaking of the devil.
There he is. Jay Moores,
man. Jay,
Moores, everybody.
Yeah. Actually, while we're here, we should say hello to everybody. We got Ara in the chat tonight.
Ara,
what's going on?
Good to see you,
Good to see you back, buddy. It's been a while.
We miss you.
And what do you say? You two awesome people. Glad to see you.
No, you're the awesome one, Ara.
Got an idea for a crossover series. Ooh, really? Mighty Mascots of Sartana who are surrounded by death.
That would be great. Wild.
Yeah. My wife, of course, is with us. Harry, starting off with a joke. Do you think Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster named Superman's home planet Krypton because they felt they were bullied and crapped on in school?
Harry's always good for a pun.
Yeah, it is good for a pun. Let's see. Would she say good, busy as always, hanging in there. She's talking to Ira in the chat.
Yep.
He said, so the Whaling Fest was a fluke.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
2 for Harry.
She was saying she also got a wicked bad sunburn, even though I was under the tent most of the time. I know I did too. My
UV
face is a
rays
little red.
permeated the tent.
Yeah,
to burn
yeah,
your
right.
skins.
Oh God. And what did he say? Oh, he said, Jay said, oh no, what did I do? No, Jay, I was talking about how we may do something with Mighty Mascots and Faye soon, which would be awesome.
I like that crossover idea. I'm a little jelly.
And then we got Roger Morocco with
Ah,
us.
there he is.
And
My
look,
good cousin
Denise
Roger
is in
Morocco.
the chat too.
Even Denise. Wow, everybody's here tonight.
Everybody's here tonight. That's
A little
awesome.
reunion.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it was cool to see them guys. They were the highlight of the Whaling Festival for sure, you know.
Nice.
The vendors were, you know, typical, you know, we didn't belong there. We didn't belong.
I was gonna say, of all the vendors, how many other people were doing comics?
Not anybody really. There was a couple people selling artwork, I think, but it wasn't we were the only ones doing comics. But the people that were there, they, you know, we were in a weird spot too. Like not a lot of the crowd was coming our way. It was just everything was wrong about it, you know.
Yeah,
it just didn't work. Denise said, love you guys. Love you too, Denise.
Likewise.
That's awesome. So yeah, so it was cool to see them. That was about the best part of the weekend, you know, like and then Sunday we took Sunday off so that I could
did you bail on Sunday, or was it just not Sunday? It wasn't going on?
Yeah, we did, because I'm like, you know what? I'm never coming back here again. So I don't care if they kick me out or, you know, ban me for life. Or
right,
whatever,
right. You already had your fill.
I had my fill, you know.
So you know, there comes to a point in a time when you're an indie creator where, you know, you start to realize your free time is more valuable than the money you can make at a convention or, you know, at a certain location, you know, where you won't get the fans, you won't get the money. You're kind of just there as like a, you know, trial of your patience and futility. You know what I mean?
I know at least 4 or 5 other vendors were going to do the same thing. So it wasn't just us that was having a bad show. One of the persons I talked to, she made a great point. I don't know what she was selling, some kind of hair stuff, you know, but like she said, I'm always suspicious of shows that where the vendors are the afterthought of the show and not the focus.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, you're 100% right. Cause that's exactly what this show was.
Yep.
We were just there as, oh yeah, we have this space to, you know, like just throw whatever there, you know, and
usually typically, and you know, in a situation like that, like how well marketed was the show? Because promoters, and this is coming from an outside perspective of, you know, people, it's like they expect almost like their vendors to do their promoting for them.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And while yes, some of that will come from there, that shouldn't be an expectation because your marketing should come out of your budget for your convention. You know, that's absolutely all part of your taxable, you know, process. You know, the budget. You know, you can write off marketing, so why not include it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of them are using that money to get like that high end, you know, celebrity to come to the show rather than build up the show, you know. It just doesn't work. Speaking of which, I just want to share this before we bring
There's another big show that needs to get built up. What am I saying? It already is built up. Everybody can't wait for Plastic City.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this. You know, it's coming up, man. It's coming up, almost a month out. We got a lot of
awesome guest list. Look at this guest list.
Yeah, right. Look at this guest list. Awesome. And look at it, just keeps going on and on and on. The only thing that's not there is Johnny C, which I know.
Which
I'm so sad by.
In spirit, unless I can sneak over there for a little bit, I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but we'll see. Hopefully
I
I'll
hope
be able
so,
to,
man. It'd be awesome if you.
yeah, in the
you know, if you
least
could
just
get
for a
there.
pass through, I'll try to make it. But we'll see what we can do.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. That'd be awesome, you know. And what was I gonna say? It's still I'm still doing some last minute things. I got the the ad coming up. I should have a preview, like a 30-second or a minute ad for the show.
Yeah. I got the preview on that. I liked it a lot.
All right, some funny stuff here.
What we got?
So we got a few more people in the chat, which is great. We got
Awesome.
Patrick Iverson.
Hey,
Sierra.
Patrick.
Hello,
Patrick
friend.
and I did a short for one of Jack Holder's anthologies.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Nice to see you, Patrick. Jay Morse says it peaked at our visit. Yeah, definitely did, man. And Jeremy Courtney, what's up, Jeremy?
Hey, Jeremy. We'll be seeing you soon at Terrificon, man.
Denise said, woohoo, Plastic City. And Ara said, I've never run a show before, but how can the vendors be an afterthought? Aren't they the show? Yeah, I mean, you would think. They
kind of are. You're right, Ara.
At some shows they are, but not all of them. Not all of them are thinking that. Like, they almost feel like comics are kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know.
Right.
We've been a few of those. We will be there. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you guys there. Patrick said, all you need at your con is the greatest MC in the biz, Johnny C.
There's a lot of people who disagree with you on that.
Uh-oh. Denise said she's not going if Johnny C isn't there.
No, you gotta go. You gotta go. That's not, you know.
Oh, that's great.
It's not a good excuse.
Ara can't make it this year.
Oh, no.
Ara, come on. And,
that's a bummer.
And we got Harry says maybe I'll get a table at Plastic City sometime if I ever print stuff up. Yeah, let me know, Harry.
Hey, you should just get a table and do puns for people as they approach. I would pay for puns.
Yeah, right. What is and we got Leo. Leo's in the chat.
Hey,
tonight.
Leo.
Hey, Leo, thanks for joining us. Hey guys, about to record, but wanted to stop by. Yeah, man, thanks for stopping in.
We should have Leo on sometime, do a crossover episode.
Yeah, absolutely. You know. And when Patrick said they could be wrong. Yeah,
they would be wrong. Thank you, Patrick.
You're awesome.
You're the best,
so,
man.
Yeah, so we'll let's start to bring in tonight's guest. Is David Sullivan. I met him. I don't know. Did you meet him at Wicked Comic-Con, Johnny? Like
I may have. Was he adjacent to you?
No, I don't think he had a table. He was walking around.
Okay.
And he came up to me and asked me about,
we may have crossed paths before, though. I mean, it was some other show.
Yeah.
I'll have to see if he remembers me from somewhere else.
Yeah, okay.
Because my memory ain't so good.
Well, you know how like we have to plot out our shows so far in advance. So how long has it been since Wicked? Like 3 months?
That was May or March.
Yeah, right? April. Yeah, so that's how far ahead.
April. Yeah, it was April.
So he's been waiting that long to be on the show, which is crazy. So but yeah, no, he gave me a copy of his comic. It was pretty fun, and he seems like an interesting dude. So without further ado, let's
bring him on in.
Yes, is David Sullivan. What's up, Dave?
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming on, Dave.
So the one thing we always ask guests, and this may be different for you because you were telling us backstage that you comics were kind of like a thing you kind of fell into. But so did you have comics and cartoons growing up, or was there anything that inspired you as a creator from like when you were younger, or no?
I definitely, obviously I read comics growing up. Captain America was a big one. I still have this image of Captain America in an alley with rats crawling all over him. I don't know why that was age appropriate for me at the time.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean,
that's probably like a 90s era cover.
Oh, God bless you.
Earlier than that.
It was early 80s when I was
early 80s. Well, that was also during an era so there's a period in comics in the 80s, 90s where they had to darken everything up. Dark Knight Returns, Daredevil, like all these like gritty, and even like
Everyone
characters who were bright and kind of like, not towards that. They pushed them towards that, So I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Cap during that era where they were trying to just gritty everything, gritty all the comics.
Well, I think it from the outside looking in, it seems like that era kind of still exists because when I went on Fiverr to find my artist, I'm like, this is a children's comic. And I see these samples and I'm like, my daughter would scream and run out of the room if she saw the characters drawn like that. So
yeah, there's still like a market for it,
Well, I think what it is that a lot of those comics influenced creators today. So it's kind of what permeates, you know what I mean? The same way Star Wars influenced a lot of the filmmakers today, same idea,
Yeah, definitely. And I think like you even still hear it nowadays too when it comes to the superhero movies. Like I still hear people like saying like, they loved like Batman v Superman because it was so dark and edgy, and so there's still those people that love those like dark and they want their heroes to like kill.
They want their heroes to bleed.
Yeah, exactly. So there's still a lot of that, out there, but yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like you said you had some like an interesting story on how you kind of got into this, which I'd love to hear.
The way it came about is, if you go back 20 years ago, I moved to New York to become an actor.
Okay. Did you ever get any parts? Were you ever in anything that we might?
I had a few like independent films and some extra work. There's if you pause National Treasure just right, you can see me on the USS Intrepid.
Were you in a scene with Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, I was.
Cool.
Yeah, when he jumps off the USS Intrepid, I'm the guy selling T-shirts.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
I always joke that I say, I wonder if somebody paused it at that moment and said, "Hey, I didn't know Tom Selleck was a National Treasure."
Yeah.
So,
that's great.
But I realized that my talent was more in behind the scenes writing than in front of the camera. So I've done a lot of writing. What's up, Christian? Christian De Matteo from Fugitive Poems. Great comics. So I discovered that my talent was more along the lines of writing. So I've been writing sitcoms. I've been writing movies. And one of the things I wrote was an animated children's movie called Sillyville. And the title came from just a throwaway line I said to my daughter one day. I said, your daddy's the mayor of Sillyville. And then I thought Sillyville, that'd be an interesting idea for a movie. And I wrote the movie a few years back, and then through some good luck, well, I'll call it half a good luck because it never came about, but I had a chance to talk to some investors, and I'm always networking. I'm a recruiter for a day job, so I'm always on LinkedIn, and just talking to some people, and they said, you can have the greatest script in the world, maybe even make the movie. So what? People got to know about the movie. The brand has to be out there. So they said, what are some ideas for how to get in? Someone threw out a comic. I was like, a comic that won't cost $16 million to make. So,
well, sometimes it feels like it costs $16 million.
Oh, it definitely felt. I literally got a second job. I worked H&R Block this past year to pay for it because like I said, I can't draw worth anything, but I got a really great guy off of Fiverr, and he understood my vision, and I didn't have to spell out everything. I know in comics and in script writing, there's a big thing like proper script format, and I know with comics that there's sort of the same principle.
With comics, it's kind of, if no one's ever written a comic, I always tell them to look at screenplays because it's similar in style to the way screenplays are written, but it's a little more visual work because you got to describe each panel to the artists and things like that. We have some other people in the chat, new faces tonight. This is great. We got let me see, Darkstream's been with us. That's Jared, right?
That's Jared Brown. Yep.
Hey, Jared, what's up,
man? He'll be with me at Terrificon.
Yes, that's right. Hey, say you guys are giving me a little bit of FOMO now. I wish I was doing Terrificon. I won't be there.
613, 615. Just
keep my spirit alive there, though. Let's see. Oh, Harry said, Maybe he can sell pins with puns on it. That's not a bad idea.
Cut print. I'll buy 5.
We got Marie, Helene.
Marie,
LeBlanc.
good to see you. She's
Hello,
up in
everybody.
Montreal.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't seen her in quite some time. She was part of the Montreal X-Men, and I'd see her at Saratoga Comic-Con all the time.
Oh, great.
Awesome
I saw the
cosplayer.
Montreal X-Men at the Rail Fest. They were there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I didn't talk to them because
okay.
I don't know those guys, but I saw them there.
Oh, those guys are wonderful.
So, Marie, I'm sorry I didn't say hello, but I was at that show if you were there too. Fugitive Poems Comics. Is that Dave and Nick? Is that someone you know, Dave?
Yeah, it's Christian DiMatteo. He's a writer, and he's got a great. He's going to be at Terrificon. If you're going to go, if you're going to be at Terrificon, you guys will meet him there.
Yeah.
Containment Breach is his comic. It's great. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight, Christian.
Yeah, come find me on the floor. I'm the guy with the coffee. You'll know who I am by the by the end of the first day.
Harry said, I'd rather the darkness than men in tights prancing around doing campy stuff.
Well, wait a minute. Batman 66 was a great show. So
Fugitive said Dave is a funny MF.
Wicked funny motherfucker kid.
And Marie said, hope you can come to Montreal, guys, one day.
I'd love to go to Montreal
one day. Maybe we could team up, Johnny, and maybe do something like
cross
that,
the border illegally together.
Sully.
Fucking Sully kid.
He still doesn't remember. Is that me? I think that was towards me.
Right now, Jared Brown's bleeding and just bleeding out on the floor.
Well, what it is
the humanity.
I like
we'll
that.
see if he posted as Jared Brown. I would know him. You know.
I know, right? He's got to hide behind his studio name.
I like that logo he's got.
Yeah, the logo is nice.
The DS
really nice.
So, Dave, if you ever needed some graphic design work or even like a alternate highly recommend Jared Brown. He does awesome work.
Oh, good.
Oh, look. So Christian said he uses Jim Zub's template for scripts. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Does he have that on a website? I would imagine.
I believe so. Yeah, Jim does have a really great website with a lot of resources and just information for creators.
Very cool.
So, and it's very much a easily accessible glossary kind of format kind of deal. So it's, you can, scroll through his site and find, tips and things very easily. It's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Site.
I'll have to check that out. He said he'll be at Terrificon. So Christian, you'll have to stop by and say hello to Johnny and Jared. It's going to be there. And then Brian, right? Brian's going to be with you.
Brian will be there with t-shirts and things.
Awesome.
Yeah, Brian's actually got some pretty big endeavors coming up soon. I don't know if I can share it yet, but I can't wait to share the news when he's got it. We might have to have him on the show to say it.
Carlos Marino, thanks. Welcome to the show, Carlos. Very impressive resume, Dave. Keep up the great work. And Marie said, I am not with the X-Men since 2018, but now
that's
I'm
Yeah,
with
she's
the
actually
new group.
formerly of the Montreal X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I saw your former team there then.
Yeah.
The original.
She's with X-Force now.
Yeah.
She was with X-Men. Now she's with X-Force.
Yeah. We've got a table. Say hi. Yeah, definitely.
We will.
Jared said I died a little inside.
Poor Jared.
No, Jared.
He's
no,
a good
I just
kid.
Don't recognize the company name,
Yeah.
So
he needs to have his adorable face as the shining,
I love
logo.
Jared. Jared's awesome
good
dude.
shit.
He is. He says, I love you, Johnny. Yeah, we all love Johnny.
Thanks, man.
Harry's available for graphic
design. That's right. Harry does do good graphic design work. He had that really cool Bigfoot logo that he did. I showed it off a while back.
Yeah, definitely. And a great supporter of our show. So we can't.
Absolutely.
Hi, you're stupid. That guest is so handsome. Thanks for joining us.
I didn't just type that myself.
He said Zub's site is a Bible. That's cool. I'll have to check it out then. I never went over
really
there.
Is. It's a good site for sure.
And she said, I like all what you do, guys. You have a lot of talent. Oh, Marie, thanks a lot.
You.
Yeah, thank you for watching us too. We appreciate it, with all the stuff out there that you could be watching, watching our little show is huge for us,
So Keith, just to circle back around on what you were saying about writing scripts, it's like I feel like there's a big differentiator. It's like when you write a script, you want to write to the character and to the actors.
Okay.
You have to think of the scene. Whereas like if you're writing a comic, it's like you try to write, if you're going to write towards the actor, it's almost like your comic becomes too wordy. You know what I mean? Or,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So you really like, it's such a different perspective that that can be lost in the first draft process. You know what I mean? When you're first laying that script work down, you're just kind of putting everything down there on paper. It's like to keep that thought process in your head that, okay, wait a minute, should be written for page. That's completely different. You know what I mean? You kind of have to do that draft completely differently entirely. And then, in some cases I write my drafts to the artist. So I'll write with reference to, saying, oh, check out this, or, this character is doing this, like this character in this movie at this time, stamp. And then they'll have some visual reference. You know what I mean? Dave.
Yeah, definitely. Was it Warden's TCG? Well, I've got to call it a night. Take care, guys. Love you. Yeah, thanks for watching. Really appreciate you jumping on and checking us out.
For sure.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. About
Dave, what were you going to say? Did you have your hand up?
I was waving goodbye to Wardens.
Oh, okay. So, to get back to the Sillyville, so it started off, you said, as an animated movie.
It's an animated movie. I wrote one script. Then I wrote a second script, which is the second script is actually a parody of Infinity Wars.
Okay.
Except Thermos has to steal the Stone of Peace from Sillyville, and he can't use violence to steal the Stone of Peace. So he has to go through and just kind of outwit Mayor Gurgleblanks from Sillyville to get the stone. And then I do have, of course, parodies of the Avengers, but they're the Arrangers, and it's all like the Hunk, Ironic Man, Guardians of the Galleria, which are mall cops who aren't really that dangerous.
That's good. I like that.
And then the Hunk just is instead of the Hulk, but his thing is he just stands there and like looks handsome, and which doesn't bother Thermos at all. And then at the end you realize that I won't give it away in case it makes it to theaters in 10 years, but the first script, I mean, I've had it read. I've done a lot of table reads. So one of the big things that started during COVID, and I think it's pretty common now, is doing table reads over Zoom. So I've had Sillyville, the movie, read a few times with like professional actors, and it reads really well.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things about it, it's, when you write a children's animated movie, the humor is actually for adults. So one of the good feedback I got is that it's funny like throughout the movie, because movies have a tendency to in the last 15 minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah, they always lose it in the last half hour. Yeah.
And I managed to, according to people that have read it, keep the jokes going. So that's good. So the script, the comic is based on a short that I wrote for Sillyville, where the mayor's wife has been missing for months, and everyone thinks she's missing, but it turns out she's actually been playing hide and go seek for 6 months, which is the sort of thing you would do in Sillyville.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
so there's
nice.
the comic.
The movie, the comic. I love that.
Yeah.
I knew Sillyville would be taken, so I'm like, well, it's a movie. I'm like, well, it's a comic. So I did the Sillyville, the movie, the comic. So
love that.
Yeah.
Have you has anything that you've written before Sillyville been produced and made into a movie, or?
No, the closest I got is I wrote a short film called Being Judge Masterson about a guy who pretends to be a judge in the Miss America pageant to try to meet women. And
that's a funny premise.
I kind of stole it from
something started out of the
80s.
Yeah. We filmed it and we put it on YouTube, but it wasn't even done. It was we actually have like a storyboard on the screen for like the scenes we didn't get to film, but that's the closest I've gotten. And I dropped a couple stuff in the chat, so I don't know how to put it in comments. I don't know. Can you throw it in?
Yeah. So yeah, which one do you want me to share?
Well, you can do you can do all of them.
Okay.
I got the except I made that inappropriate
I'll start
joke.
with
You can leave that out.
I'll start with maybe this link, which looks like a website.
Yeah, that's my sitcom that I wrote. I
Oh, okay. So is that something that people can watch?
Yeah, so there's table reads on there. So you
Okay.
can watch the table reads. And I always tell people with table reads, you don't quite get, like, if it was acted out and, the timing can be off over Zoom. So I always say, like, if you think it's a 6, it's really an 8. Or if you think it's a 5, it's really a 7 if we could actually film it. Because, obviously the way the characters interact and the timing and everything is what makes a sitcom. So that's that. And then I got some links to my social media on there.
Yeah, let me share this. This is your Twitter, I believe.
Yep.
And
that's Mayor Gurgle Blanks.
What social media are you most active on? Are you all on all of them?
I'd probably say Twitter. And I'm getting more into
Twitter.
Instagram.
I am too. I'm more a Twitter person, but I try to do a little bit on all of them. You're the same way, right, Johnny? Too. You try.
I mainly focus on Twitter, particularly
Me
nowadays. Too. Although I'll I'll jump over to Facebook for, like, if I have something new that I'm just trying to, like, announce, or if I'm just trying to make people aware of something I'm doing, I'll pop over to Facebook and make an announcement for that. And I'll use it for just, happy birthdays. So if it's somebody's birthday, I'll always, oh, hey, happy birthday,
Yeah. And that's great. How did you make, what made you decide to, like, take it from movies to comics? Was there something that put that in your head, or was it like something you saw? Or
before you answer that, I wanted to tell Harry, because I just saw that comment about Three's Company. That,
oh yeah, I love that. Very.
When I was in my 20s and 30s, people thought I looked like John Ritter. And
nice.
Mayor Gurgleplunk's, you would never be able to tell, is loosely based on John Ritter. That was
sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
Inspiration.
Love John Ritter.
Yeah.
I could see the John Ritter resemblance.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit too.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm sorry. Oh yeah. So the reason for the transition was because I wanted to see if I could build a brand from the comic. I mean, I wasn't, I'm not expecting it to be the next, Marvel, but just if I could get some kind of, my feeling was if I could get, get the comic book out there, get people following me on social media. Maybe 2 years from now, I hand somebody a script and they say
some kind
Sillyville, and even if he hasn't heard of it, he's talking to someone like, oh, you know what? I heard about that. He was at, I think that guy was at Comic-Con. I think that guy. So one of the things when I went to Wicked Con, is it called Wicked Con? Is it Wicked Con?
Wicked Comic-Con.
Wicked Comic-Con. Okay. All right. I think it's one of these things where people say it two different ways, because I remember, like, if you put it in Twitter, or like, it will come up both ways. So, one of the things, I got to meet a guy that was a showrunner. That was like my first time. So, Johnny, I think I met you. I had my daughter with me. She was 11. I was wearing my, of course, Sillyville t-shirt.
Now that you say it, I vaguely have a recollection. Yeah.
Yeah. So we came in, and the first booth I went to, a guy told me about this guy was a showrunner for Hollywood. And I turned to my daughter and I said, Genevieve, have you ever heard the expression beeline? Let me show you what a beeline is.
Who was the guy there that was a showrunner?
I forget his name. He was a guy who was selling like old comics, like not his own comics.
Oh, really?
Selling used comics. He was I think he was near Johnny, because you guys weren't together, right?
Yeah.
No, we were.
Yeah, they were the row behind us. Was they were selling original art and old comics.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the guy. Yeah. So, yeah, he but that was April 22nd, and I haven't heard, so not sure of anything.
Well, that's, I mean, any creative business, right? Like, like when we submit comics to publishers, it's the same thing. You wait for a certain period of time, and you're either in or you don't hear anything, ever.
Yeah, I usually like to get it in, forget about it, and if it comes back, awesome. Don't you get too excited. That's just going to lead to disappointment.
Exactly. you just send it out, and then if it's destiny, you'll know.
Do good, live well. No, do good, forget, and live well. That's the motto.
Good motto, Johnny. That's awesome. So so that I think that's a smart move, especially if you're doing if you want to sell an animated brand, you want to build everything else that you can. Have you actually produced a minute short or anything like that for it?
It's funny. I actually do have a short. The quality is not that good. It's enough to kind of get the general thing across, but it really needs to be done well, because it's one of these things where you show it to someone and most of the time they just go, well, what is this? What? Oh, what's this for? And as opposed to just watch the freaking thing. If you think it's funny,
That's something I'd love to do at my Mighty Mascots. I'd love to get a minute of just what the show intro would be, or something like that. That might be, something to think about.
It's funny. I explored for the sake of a friend of mine who had it in his heart at one point to want to make an anime.
Okay.
And so I kind of went on a little bit of an exploratory mission for him, and the rates I was quoted for a minute of animation, and if you're looking for something that's Hollywood level, you're gonna be paying $30K a minute.
Oh, I believe it.
And then if you're looking for something that's maybe outsourced out of India or something like that, you could probably get it for as little as 3.5K to 5,000 a minute. You know what I mean? So that's
I would love to.
Unless you know somebody who's in animation, maybe they're looking to have a demo reel, in that regard. You might be able to luck out
it's
there.
Tough, right? To find something.
Yeah, it's tough and it's not cheap. Animation is not cheap. Otherwise, all these indie creators like us, that's what they'd be doing.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, when I say that 16 million for the movie, that includes that I found a really, really good deal on the animation, and that really good deal was I found a company out of Ghana that does Disney Pixar level stuff that could do it for 3.6, 3.8. I would probably round up to 4 on the even though I just held up 5 figures before for the budget. But I just got lucky again. It was LinkedIn, my day job, and sometimes if I get bored at work, I might throw in animators search, and I managed
exploratory mission.
So I got this guy out of Ghana, and he, again, great work. What I can do too is I can send you over offline that little clip, and I can show you. The guy's on Fiverr. He gave me a good deal. It was I don't know, it might have been $500 for the one clip. So you get what you pay for, but it wasn't that bad,
I definitely want I'm kind of where Johnny said, I'm kind of looking for something not Hollywood level, but I would love an 80s, I'd love to them to take my characters and do the Thundercats intro or something like that, something on that level I think would be cool, but I don't know how much something like that would be. And that definitely was done by it looks definitely Korean or Japanese or something that did those Thundercats episodes, they animated them.
I would say write the sequence, right?
Yeah, right. You'd have to write out what's going on.
Write it out and then, see where you're at with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I want to do that face off where all of them are running towards each other.
G.I. Joe. The X-Men
G.I. Joe and Cobra running towards each other.
Right.
And you got to get the music too, and you have to have it lined up. What I did is I recorded
Mascots or something. It'd be something like that. I would have somebody, but whatever you do, don't get Dr. Katz quality animation. Isn't that called Squiggle Vision? Yeah, the
squiggly
those guys were
lines,
based
yeah.
out of Boston though, too, wasn't it? That company that did Dr. Katz and home movies, that was Boston based, because my the old manager at That's Entertainment used to work for them. They were called
no
like
kidding.
Soup to Nuts, and they were based out of Boston. I don't think they're in business anymore though, but they did Dr. Katz and home movies and something else. And that was their big claim to fame, but it was also all that Squiggle Vision stuff.
Yeah.
Know? But yeah, no, I admire you for trying to pursue something like animation. It just seems so daunting to, someone like me, like where it's like I have no connections absolutely whatsoever,
But,
and what were you gonna say, Dave?
That's one of the beauties of the comic, is because, the fact of the matter is I might go to my grave with having written this great script that never got made. But in the meantime, the comic's like real. I managed to sell a few when I was at Comic-Con, just walking around. It's funny because I started off going like 0 for 3, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Have you set up at many shows yet, or no?
No, I haven't been. Comic-Con was the one show, and I looked for people with kids, and then would go up to them and say, hey, you want a comic geared towards kids, and yeah, I managed to sell a few, and like I say, made some great connections. I one thing that struck me about Comic-Con is just how nice everyone was. I mean, it's just great guys, and people, and it's such a great community. Like when I did Michael Gracia's show, and I mentioned, I'm going to be in this other one. He's like, I know Keith, yeah, good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's small circles for sure. I mean,
circles, and then like if you suck, the word gets around really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like rule number one in indie comics is don't be a dick, because people will know.
Absolutely, So most supportive community I've seen around too. Everywhere though, like you go to even when I went to San Diego for the first time with Johnny, like last November, met a ton of creators there, and they were awesome, So, yeah, I feel like it's all over the place. Although the shows in California have a much different vibe than over here on the East Coast.
I think that's just the regional. Like
it is. It's a little
over
there, but over here, which maybe might be worth looking into at some point, trying to go out to a show over there, Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to make it to Terrificon. It's not going to be in the budget. But what's that one there's one in like early August. What's the one in Boston?
It's a Fan Expo.
Fan Expo, yeah.
Is that the similar idea, or what are you guys thinking that?
So I have not done that show. It's hard for me to say that it wouldn't be good for you though, because my problem with that show is it's very celebrity heavy. Mm-hmm. So if you're a comic creator, that's not gonna, a lot of people are there for celebrities and not comics. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to go there. Although I've heard from a ton of people they do well at that show. I have yet to try it for myself though and experience it, so I cannot speak to it, whether it's good or not. Johnny, have you ever vended at
I've been to Fan Expo. I've attended. I've never exhibited. I've had friends who've exhibited, and have heard horror stories of the way the Artist Alley can be run. Preferential treatment, being disregarded. You have to pay, but you don't. Politics like that, which I really don't agree with, and I don't think a good business is run that way. So I typically avoid trying to exhibit there. But I have to say legitimately it's a mixed bag, because I've heard people say they've done well there, and I've heard people say that they've struggled there. And it's, I guess, really relative to the placement and the promotion of the show itself. We also have to remember that show was what was once Boston Comic-Con. So they kind of have this legacy attendance that keeps going back to the show. But now with Wicked Comic-Con, who were the original Boston Comic-Con creators, kind of up and coming, I mean, that may be a show that grows to be something like Boston Comic Con used to be, which was very much indie focused and a very successful show for a lot of indie creators.
So, they'll get mad at me if I don't mention this. So August 19th, this is a Saturday. I'm going to be doing a Meet the Author event at Barnes and Nobles in Hingham.
Nice.
So that's on the Derby shops in Hingham at 2:00 on August 19th. So so everyone come on by, wear your Sillyville t-shirt, which I stole the, I'm a big Cheap Trick fan. So I took the,
yeah. I could see. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Made Sillyville. Everyone come on by and pretend I'm a big deal.
Well, what they should do is they should swing on by there, and then when they're done, head to Plastic City. And then when you leave Plastic City, head on by to Hingham and swing on by and say hi to Dave. Get an autograph.
People can do both, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And there's a Chipotle right there too. So it's a win-win.
You can
get
shit
a
your
copy
pants
of
later.
Sillyville and a quesadilla.
Yeah. And shit your pants later. Oh my God. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I don't know if Fanboy Expo, it might be worth going to just to, get a more celebrity vibe to it, so
I'm wondering if, based on what you say, it might be a good place to network for the movie aspect of it versus the comic aspect of it. One of the things I like to do is so I did, like I mentioned, I did another podcast a couple months ago, and I threw out a poll, and I'd like to throw out the same poll, if you guys don't mind, for
go ahead.
in the comments. So it's two possibilities for the next episode, the next edition of Sillyville.
Okay. Well, actually, before you throw this out, Dave, why don't you tell the audience, like, what's the premise of Sillyville?
Yeah,
like, so
the
premise. All right. So Sillyville is, so just to back up a little bit, years ago, and I remember in English class, they said every script, every movie is either character driven, plot driven, or location. It's like one of those three. So Sillyville it's almost like your classic location. Like, it's a silly town. There's a lot I either intentionally or unintentionally stole from The Simpsons. One of the things is nobody actually knows where Sillyville is. I think it's in the United States, but I don't know what city it might even kind of exist outside of, the dimension we're in, of the universe we're in. So in the movie, Mayor Gurglebloinks is the mayor of Sillyville, and Sillyville sits on top of these mines, which has blublonium in it. And I don't know exactly what blublonium is, but I guess it's bad for the environment. And then a Schindler or a swindler or whatever, a con man named Handsome Harley Face comes to town, and he wants to steal all the blublonium and sell it. And basically he orchestrates a bunch of like crime and stuff throughout Sillyville to try to get a vote of no confidence in the mayor. So they do that. He becomes mayor. He decides he's going to sell the blublonium, and then Mayor Gurglebloinks has to somehow stop him. And then it's actually the mayor's daughter who rescues him and actually ends up saving the day, not the mayor. So it's a great thing for kids, because the mayor's precocious daughter, loosely based on my daughter, is the one who saves the day in the movie. But it's a silly town. So a lot of the stuff isn't even in the script, and in the comic there's certain things like first page he's quoting, the artist would throw in some of the stuff he'd take on himself. Like here he's wearing a Zeppelin mask, like he's quoting Led Zeppelin. So he throws in like a mask. Here he's got Groucho Marx glasses. So it lends itself to having all kinds of just like silly things in the background for the kids that, they can look at and they can just be cracking up while the grownups are actually paying attention to the plot. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about it is that, it's a franchise. I mean, it's not about one script or one comic or, anything. It's about the whole movie. One of the things I am actually doing, I got about maybe a third of the way through it, is writing a Sillyville language, like a silly sounding language to go with the script. And this is very ambitious, but I'm actually Sillyville neighbors Somerville. That's quite possible. I'm actually considering making doing the movie, like re-releasing it if it ever gets released to begin with subtitles in the silly language, leaving the animation the same, and then releasing it with subtitles with the silly language that they have. And it would be like, so every word I came up with has to have the same amount of syllables so that the animation will kind of match up. But it's just a huge thing. I think of it like Toy Story. Like think of all the merchandise that people sold.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
like you said, Simpsons. I mean, how many characters and how many things going on in that show,
There's one character in Sillyville named Officer Fructose, and literally I've paid an artist to draw him. I have a drawing of him. I can show you what he looks like right now. And in my head, all I picture is Chief Wiggum. And I could be staring at the drawing of Officer Fructose, still picturing Chief Wiggum in my head. So I stole him. There's no two ways about it. I stole that character.
I mean, if you think about The Simpsons stole a lot of character profiles from like other things too. You know what I mean? So, it's true. Like, kind of one thing begot you. I mean, look, Fred Flintstone is just Ralph Cramden. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, like everyone steals from everyone, but like they try to put a new like spin on it or a new twist or a new take.
Well, I mean, even sometimes it would be blatant because I remember Simpson episodes that were literally just doing like Three Stooges riffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So that sounds fun. So it's like a town where all this stuff kind of happens.
Yeah, and you never quite know where it's where it is or what's happening next. So it lends itself. So I've had some as far as the movie goes. No one's going to
reinvent the wheel. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. In fact, I heard
it up.
There's a stat like 9 out of 10 scripts somehow are like a Shakespeare play.
Well, you were saying there was like only seven actual stories or something, right? Yeah, something like that. But yeah, no.
So, I'm a little curious. I know it seems like a lot of the goal is to kind of build a brand and build the build this thing as kind of an umbrella, so it becomes multiple things, as a comic book and this and that. Have you considered crowdfunding or setting up like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo to kind of help reinforce that?
Yeah, I've thought about that. Christian from Fugitive Poems was telling me about the benefits of crowdfunding, Kickstarter. I've thought about it. I mean, I go back and forth. I mean, I need like for the next comic, I need $1,200 to give the artist, and I don't have $1,200 right now. I mean, I could probably get it, but then when my wife murders me, I want to be
Can you do like so with artists? I used to do like I would allot like some of my paycheck every week to like, send me 2 pages and I'll send you payment for 2 pages. Can you do something like that? Or
That's possible.
think about it like, like some people, like I always said, like some people go to the bar and spend like $50 on the weekend, where it's like me, I take that $50 and pay for a comic page, or how much ever your artist is charging. $50 is actually pretty low, actually, but
I think if you would like, because then on the flip side, you can think about it like this. Okay, it's $1,200 expense to make the next book, right? So you put together, so you put up the expense initially, right? Say, okay, well, I gotta cough up the $1,200, however, whatever means. You get the thing produced. That way, it's in hand, and then when you do the campaign, set it for something low, modest, like $2,000. And then that way, when you launch the campaign, you make sure that you kind of like do a lot of promotion throughout the campaign, and then just kind of stay in touch with everybody. From there, that's going to help you build and get eyeballs and just build a fan base too, because as people pledge and as people come aboard the project, you're gaining their email address, you're gaining their notifications on Kickstarter. So where a lot of people shop indie comics now, they'll go to that platform. You can kind of like mine your fan base that way. You know what I mean? And then in turn, if you get that 2K, you're paying off the $1,200, and then you have a little bit of profit where you can budget to put in for the next issue. And then that way, your next $2,000, or maybe you make it $4,000 because you could have built your numbers up by then. And then that's where you can kind of expand and you do bigger things. And the sky's the limit, Dave. The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Take it there, man.
I appreciate it, and it's funny how like little things add up. The whole like I went through Mixum, I think.
Oh yeah, yep.
And so I was just thinking, if I do the Barnes and Nobles event, I need to order more books. Like, there's another $100 to order, the 50 more copies, and it really adds up. But it's worth it. Like I said, I managed to sell a few copies, which means I can write off all my losses this year on my taxes. So according to my neighbor across the hall, Kramer, it's a write-off.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's write it off.
Yeah, definitely.
Write it off, buddy. Write it off.
So now that we know the premise, you could throw out. You wanted to do a poll, right? You said.
Yeah. So.
Oh, right.
Here's the two possibilities for the next script.
Okay.
One is Alex Rodriguez, the baseball player, is going to be doing a question and answer event in Sillyville, and it's called Ask A-Rod. But Mayor Gurglebloinks hears it on the radio and thinks it says Asteroid is coming to Sillyville on Saturday, and he thinks they're all going to die. And he goes through a week of just doing his bucket list because he thinks they're going to die. And it ends with, it's going to basically end with him like trying to desperately to cancel a fight he had scheduled with the heavyweight champion of the world because it was supposed to take place after he thought the asteroid was going to hit. And then the other one is, it's going to be one like kind of focus on like gambling. But in this episode, somebody convinces Mayor Gurglebloinks to make a huge bet with the mayor of Oppositeville, and they have this basketball game. And when he goes to like make the bet, he sees all these like 6'8" guys that are like dunking and everything. And then when the game actually happens, it's like all these like fat, like 5'1" guys with the actual players. And he's like, well, what about those other guys? He's like, it's Oppositeville.
Well, I could tell you the one I like better.
Yeah.
So I like the second one better only because I think if you do A-Rod, it seems like it's very regional. Like, it's like, especially if you want your property to be like, play to other people, like if using A-Rod's name. I know most people would know it, but like, how many people know it outside of Massachusetts? Like, is it like a big name
Well,
out in say
A-Rod
like
played
Utah?
for New York,
You know
and
what I
he was
mean?
pretty nationally popular, I'd say. So I
Yeah,
think
'cause
A-Rod could play.
Yeah, we dated J-Lo.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So
But it's also the only reason about saying A-Rod too is it also dates the story. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
what's funny is a friend of mine, actually a guy you've had on the podcast, Andrew. I can't believe I'm blanking his last name. He wrote I'm totally blanking right now.
Andrew.
Why Fleming? Andrew Fleming.
was that
wrote-
social studies?
Yeah, I did your podcast a while back.
Andrew Fleming.
Trying to remember the name's
Yeah, I'm trying to
familiar.
remember.
I got to put a face to it. Unfortunately,
He's got a twin brother that he does the comics with. Anyway, he was saying if I went with Averoid, because it would be a joke about A-Rod's love of the steroids, and also
Oh yeah.
also it rhymes more with asteroid than Rod.
Yeah, that would be better actually. That way, it's almost like a new. It's almost like an inside joke for people, but also like it kind of functions also as a name. You know what I mean? As like if anybody doesn't follow sports, they would still get something out of it.
So I like actually. So I think I like both, but I prefer the A-Rod story better. And I think the reason why I gravitate towards it because it reminds me of the asteroid episode from The Simpsons, where everybody was in panic over that. But it also reminds me of an episode of G.I. Joe where they get a phone call saying that the Viper is coming to town, and then G.I. Joe starts to panic and they start to gear up and they're putting on their defenses only to find out that it's a guy with a German accent who's the window wiper. And the window viper is coming to town. And so that kind of plays along like that. But I also feel like your A story could be your also B story, and you could put that all into one and just have two stories happening concurrently.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, and that way you nail both.
Yeah, that's interesting. The other thing I'm talking about is taking Sillyville the movie and making it into a comic. And the thing I've found though is when I don't know, and maybe it's because I'm new, but I'll make like the storyboard kind and say like, all right, here's kind of what I think is going to happen. And then when you actually start writing it out, like, all right, these 2 pages are actually 3.5, and this page is 2, and it's tough to squeeze everything in. In a movie, you could have one guy just. There's always that like Donald Sutherland and JFK where you just like, let's just bring some guy in and have him explain the whole movie in 2 minutes, it's tough to do that
character for the audience,
Yeah. You have that, you're limited in what you can do per page in terms of getting what you can convey in that. So if people want to throw in the comments in the chat, like if they have a preference.
Yeah, Harry's already brainstorming.
Harry said,
for
how about use A-Rod as long as he gets beat up by Veritech randomly? I bet that's funny, but I'm not a sports guy, so I don't know.
You just really want to appease the Boston Red Sox fans out there.
Oh, that's funny.
I like I said, I like both stories. I think both could work. You know what I mean? But then at that point, you also have to think about the real estate of your comic book. Like you already have a kind of a price point of $1,200 for production. If every page is real estate and real estate costs. So if you're going to up your page count, then you're going to up your production costs, and that kind of changes the perspective. But then on the flip side, if you have a bigger, longer book or a hardcover, for example, that's a higher dollar value that you can justify charging on your exhibitor's table. So, like I have an anthology that I'm a part of. That book I can now sell for a higher price point on my table, and it gets me to that expense, covering the table expense quicker.
Yeah, it's a valid point as well. Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah, all good points, Johnny.
One more thing I wanted to suggest for you, Dave, and I hope I'm not preaching here. I hope I don't come off as preachy at all.
No, I love it.
But what I'd suggest is that because you're taking a concept and you're going from essentially animation film or film animation, and you're translating to comics, I would probably employ a comic specific editor to give it a once over, and that way they can cover all your grammatical editing as well as formatting editing. So that way they can you basically have a reputable set of eyes that's looking over your script that can confirm it to be part of being formatted specifically for comics.
All right, I like it. I'm not writing this down because I know you're recording this.
Right.
Yeah. You can reference.
You can always reference back.
Yeah,
it'll be on the channel tomorrow live. I should, or even later tonight, probably.
Yeah.
Warden TCG said could do a lot of funny stuff with the gambling on the basketball game idea. Yeah, I think so too. And
like betting against the Harlem Globetrotters and betting for the Washington Generals.
Yeah.
Harry said, what about Derek Cheater?
Oh, yeah. See, that's the other thing, too, is that you can go like the Mad Magazine route and have actual characters, but give them skewed parody names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the
same way you did for your Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Your parody Avengers.
Yeah, I wish I could remember. So I know one was Thorn, and you just like land. I could only hit you on the side, like a thorn in the side. But I forget exactly what it was. But there was. I had a few of them. Thermos just crushed them anyhow. So just like like in the movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's all good stuff. I really appreciate it. It's definitely fun. It's a fun world to be in, and
comics is fun, but it's also like you gotta have the right state of mind for it, I think, too. Like, because they often people often throw around that Jack Kirby quote about comics breaking your heart, and it's true in some cases, but if you don't let it bother you, then you can enjoy this hobby perfectly fine. Or not even hobby, but career, secondary career for some people, or people want to do it full time, so.
I mean, like, I think it's like, if you're not having fun, then don't do it, because you don't want to suffer yourself for no reason. You have to be having fun in the process of this. Otherwise, like you said, comics will break your heart. Comics will kill you.
You have to be able to, figure out how to balance, like, especially because you need money to make comics, and you need money to go to shows. You need, you need money for promo. You need money for everything. So
you have to be able to drink from the cup of rejection and not suffer it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like any other creative endeavor. You're putting yourself out there, and for parts where it may or may not fail, that's
and there's no magic bullet.
There's no magic bullet. That's a risk for for your creative spirit. You know what I mean? If you get crushed real easy, then it's tough. It becomes a tough process.
Well, the way I look at it is, you work your day job, you exercise, you spend time with your family, and then you got 3 hours, 4 hours a night. Like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna watch TV for 3 hours? You're gonna try to spend some time being productive, and I try to do something every night, something like creative, even if it's just like a social media thing where I tried to get 10 new followers, or even just writing out a page. One of the things I worked on last week is the script I wrote about the guy who pretends to be the judge in the Miss America pageant, that was rewritten, and it ended up that it was the guy, except it was the Miss Puerto Rico pageant, and he's down in Puerto Rico. And the script's funny. It's kind of like that, like raunchy 80s style comedy.
Weekend at Bernie's kind of thing.
Yeah. The rub is that the main character is kind of a jerk, and he says these inappropriate things, and he's rude and crass, and the screenwriting Bible that we all go by in my writing group is Save the Cat. And the title Save the Cat is based on the idea that you have your character do something early in the movie, like save a cat from a tree so people like him. So this last thing I've been doing is going through the dialogue, just this guy's lines, and saying, what lines can I change so he's less objectionable, less of a pervert, and like we're actually rooting for him when he gets because what happens in, it's now called BeautyCon. My short film was Being Judge Masterson. This is BeautyCon. And what happens in BeautyCon is, so he pretends to be a judge in the Miss Puerto Rico pageant. He's having the time of his life. And then we find out that the judge he's pretending to be is actually the mastermind of a big like gold heist that's going on down in Puerto Rico. And he's being set up as a patsy. And he has to prove his innocence in the last scene. And one of the scenes I truly believe I wrote the funniest scene in the history of comedy, if I could actually get it made. And I won't go into it now because the setup is just too much. But if we talk off air, I'll tell you it. But I think it might potentially be the funniest scene ever in any movie. And I'll tell you off air, and you can tell me.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to hear it.
Awesome. Warden's TCG said, was that guy based on John Lovitz? That would be hilarious.
I could see that kind of like John Lovitz having that kind of like vibe or whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Harry's picturing Richard Dawson as the judge character.
Richard Dawson is far too like charming and sophisticated. Picture like we were thinking maybe Charlie Day for the.
Oh okay.
Someone like that. At one point, I knew someone who knew Kevin Hart, and I said, it could be Kevin Hart. He could be like kind of down on his luck, kind of guy.
Yeah,
so
right.
I was like, yeah, that could work too.
Kevin Hart's good like that. He can kind of play all sorts of different kinds of roles.
Yeah, Benny Hill. That's great. Awesome. Well, we've been going about an hour and 20 minutes, so I'm gonna start. It's
man.
crazy how quick this show goes by. Yeah. Once you start talking to somebody, and conversation just flows. So as we start to wrap up here, David, anything else that you want to let people know? Like, I posted your social medias early on in the show. I'll start posting them again here.
Make sure everybody gives David a follow on the social medias. Yeah,
definitely. And you said you're mostly active on Twitter and Instagram. Oh, George jumping in. Hey, man. What's up?
George.
Sorry I'm late. Man. Good to see you, buddy.
Never late.
Yeah, exactly. So let me but anything else you want to add to anything that we've talked about tonight? Or
no, I wanted to thank you guys for having me on, and Dan, Rob, and Brian, and the people that showed up that I invited, and everyone else for tuning in. It was great.
Yeah, definitely.
My wife is down in DC right now for training, so I don't know if she was able to listen, but she'll catch the YouTube anyhow. So
definitely. And any of you guys that watched it, if you like what you saw, definitely give us a subscribe on YouTube.
Shout out to Mrs. Sullivan out in DC.
Yes.
Yes.
If subscribe. We're actually, Johnny, we're over 800 subscribers now.
No way, right?
We're
and closer and closer to 1,000.
Yeah,
and then it's easy sailing from that point on, right, Keith?
What's that?
It's easy sailing after 1,000 subscribers?
No, it's not at all. Not from what I've been hearing. Like, I thought our dreams come true at that point, but it sounds like it's like you get a pittance from YouTube after that.
Well, ever since I was a little boy, I heard the expression, the first 800 followers on your YouTube channel is the toughest. So you guys.
Yeah, we're almost there. Yeah, we're over that, which is nice. But you also, so the toughness with YouTube is it's not just the subscribers you got to get. it's the watch hours. So our show not only has to have all those subscribers, we got to be entertaining and interesting.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
Yeah.
we try, but we don't
Yeah,
know.
we're gonna
if
have to
we're-
start introducing how to cook steak the proper way in the back half of the show.
I wish I knew it was supposed to be entertaining before you invited me on. I would have spared you.
That's great.
Oh goodness.
So yeah, Johnny, you got anything going on in your neck of the woods that you want to shout out? Any
Plenty. But
campaigns?
I'll try to keep it quick so I don't bore us all to death.
No,
okay,
throw it
first
out.
and
Throw it out.
foremost, Dave, thank you for coming on. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to share your project with us. It was great learning more about Sillyville, and I hope we weren't preaching too much, but I love the concept of your project, and I really hope to see you succeed. And I hope you come back on and promote your project and promote that second issue when you get around to it.
Will do.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as my business, I'm not going to be on the show until I think the second week of August or something because of the traveling. Because I'm only going to be on the next one scheduled wise. So I want to let people know if you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, come find me at booth 2103. We're immediately under the independent publishing sign. That's a red hanger sign that's hanging from the ceiling on the show floor. We're right by the C entrance. We have a really awesome booth, bunch of awesome creators. Come on by, check us out.
Awesome. Johnny, take someone out of there this year so I can go next year.
Yeah. Actually, so we'll talk about that. Because maybe there might be something going on there.
All right.
So other thing, Terrificon. Going to be at Terrificon. I'm going to be with my good friends Jared Brown and Brian Lafferty. We're going to have a big 20 by 10 booth. 20 by 20 booth. So come on down, check us out there. I'm going to have a full-blown cafe set up. So I'm going to be serving the blend of coffee from Surrounded by Death. I'm going to have issues of Surrounded by Death on hand. I'm going to have the hot sauce on hand.
Hot sauce, I'm going to
have. I'm going to have the prints, the San Diego Comic-Con prints that I don't sell there. I'll have leftovers at Terrificon ready to go for everybody. So swing on by. We're booth 613, 615 together. I guess that's the numeration. And we're basically, if you walk into the venue, we're going to be along the left side wall this time. The opposite side with where we normally
sign
are.
Your underwear.
Yes, I'll sign whatever you want me to.
And George said, that's freaking awesome, John. I'll see you at Terrificon, man. I'll miss you, Keith and Amy. Yeah, George, I'm getting FOMO now. I wish you would do it.
Just come down for the day, Keith.
I might. We'll see what's going on that weekend. You may see me show up,
Right on. Well, I hope I do. And then I also wanted to give a big shout out to our man Hades, who's got Global Indie Group. We've got Global Indie Group is a really awesome consortium of creators. You can sign on there. Think of I like to liken it to Angie's List for, creative content. So if you need a podcaster, if you need a writer, if you need an editor, if you need an illustrator, it's only $5 a month. You have a reputable interface where you can reach out to awesome people and you could possibly find collaborators. You could just ask them directly what their rates are. Real handy resource. Hades. Yeah, there you go. George knows. Hades is the man. He's putting together something really special. So big shout out to those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then last but not least, just be cool to each other.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I love Johnny's little. We should call it Johnny's Corner at the end or something, like some kind of
my neurotic blurb at the
end. That's awesome. Dave, I want to thank you as well. For coming on the show. It's nice to learn about your project and learn about you as a creator and everything. So that was great. I want to remind everybody that Plastic City Comic-Con is happening August 19th. Same day that Dave will be signing at Barnes & Noble. Which town, Dave? Hingham. Barnes & Noble and Hingham. So theoretically, you could do both. You could go
just
see
a shot
Dave
up 495.
And then shoot up to Plastic City, or go to Plastic City and then shoot over to Barnes and Noble on your way home.
And
so you can check out both. And and then also the Mighty Mascots 789 is at the printers, and I'm hopefully gonna have. I think Is it Comics Wellspring? Is their turnaround is a couple weeks usually, right, Johnny?
If you're going to order comics from Comics Wellspring, and Dave, I highly recommend them. Tell them Johnny C sent you. If you're going to go through Comics Wellspring, you want to give them a 2-week lead time plus shipping time. So if you ever need to order books, just give yourself like 3 weeks to a month in advance. Otherwise, you're going to be paying rush premiums, and it's not pretty. Like I've had to pay rush premiums before.
Yeah, and you end up paying more for the book, right? Than you would get. You won't get your money back.
So my profit margin then becomes like 75 cents.
Yeah, versus
like $2 and something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yep. And so that was me. I was giving them plenty of time, and I ordered a lot because you got to remember, I'm not just ordering the new books. I'm reordering 1 through 6 with all, with my production company name on the cover now. And
my typical order at Comics Wellspring is somewhere in the $400 to $500 range in regards to printing every single one of my single issue comics. So the Pond 1 and 2, Sartana 1 and 2, Surrounded by Death 1 and 2, all that, printed together, usually on the minimum 25 issue minimum that they require. That's usually about $400 to $500 for perspective.
Okay. You know what I spent? Want to know what I spent, John?
Yes, please. How much did you blow on this one?
Oh God, it was 2,000. I want to say maybe 2,300 for this print run.
Please tell me that you signed up for an account so you're accruing the points at least.
I did. Yeah, I did. I'm close
because
to
that's
getting
the other beautiful thing about those guys is that every, I think 30 points is $1 or something to that effect. So, if you continually use them, it pays back significantly.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you run a crowdfunding campaign and you promote them as your dedicated printer, they will give you some percentage off of your print order. So they're awesome people to work with.
And then they're also good to go to for promo stuff. They sell trading cards, they sell bookmarks, they have an banners.
Online shop. They have a print on demand online shop. So you can host your comic book through them and print on demand.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just more. I promise you, they did not sponsor this episode.
I know, they really didn't. We just love those guys a lot, honestly.
I just put an order with them as well. They are very good and speedy. And then George said, "Mighty Mascots, can't wait for the next issues." Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that so much. Comics Wellspring. Look into them, Dave. You may want to, do them as a new printer instead of mix them. I priced out a bunch, and they still came in as the cheapest from most places, I think, so. But all right, so if that's it, everybody, we're gonna wrap up this episode of Indie Comics Relay. So Johnny, is it the next episode you will be incognito, or
our next episode technically on our bi-weekly schedule would be the 24th, and I will be in San Diego. Completely different time zone. Don't know where I will be that day, so I can't guarantee that I'm going to be with an internet connection, ready to go.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to.
What I'll do is I'll probably tap one of our friends to come on as a co-host, which would be cool. But if you are around, definitely jump on, because we'll have you on too,
I mean, even if it's just like me on my phone at the beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will pop in. Yeah.
Pop in and, join the conversation. And stuff. One thing I forgot to, before we wrap up, Dave, if anyone wants a copy of your book, where can they go to get it? Do you have a website or anything? I forgot.
Well, we're working on that now, getting it up on Amazon and everything. But I just put this in the chat. Just reach out any of those social media.
So follow you on social media and then DM you from there. Yeah,
just DM me. D.Anthony Productions.
Gotcha. What's the price and shipping and all that? Do you?
Right. I've been charging $10 and just like eating.
That's for both the comic and shipping.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's feeling generous and wants to throw in a couple extra bucks to cover shipping, I shan't complain. But
just do media mail or
Media
that
mail,
thing's
$3 to $4.
cheaper. Although I think it went up. I heard it went up in price.
Postage went up this week, so everything's going
Postage, and then I think they folded. What was they were telling me? First class got folded into something else.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. I got to look into it more.
It's always fun to get creative of things you can try to slide through media mail. So,
well, they might not. It might not make it not worth it now if they're caught charging more. We'll see. We'll see. But anyways,
I've got some media mail stories for offline.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be starting a new show here. So Johnny may or may not be with us in 2 weeks. And we'll have a guest co-host. And,
yes, I might be dead then.
Yeah, I mean, he mentions the dude's got no time to do an online show on top of that, So, look at this. You should have a co-host contest.
I want Harry to fill in. Can I just name Harry my fill-in?
Although I feel like Harry would just be cracking jokes the entire time.
Perfect. He'd be better than me.
We need our Ed McMahon, right?
Yeah.
Or our Andy Richter,
Yeah.
But anyways, everyone, have a great week. We'll talk to you later. And most importantly, read some comics. All right, everybody, have a great night, and we will talk to you later. Bye.